Let's continue with the basic teachings of Islam. We'll continue from where we left off at, which was about the Tawheed and God being the only one, and other qualities about him. Among many, some might say, absurd ideas, comes the idea that God has children. There are people who believe that Jesus, or Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, is the son of God. There are also have been people, and perhaps there still are, who believe that angels are God's daughters. In this respect, the Holy Quran says, and they falsely, having no knowledge, attributed to him sons and daughters. Praise and glory to him. He is far above whatever they attributed to him. The creator of the heavens and the earth, could he have a child when he has no consort? He has created everything and knows everything. That is God, that is your Lord. There is no God but He, the creator of all things. Then worship Him, and He is the guardian of all things. That's verses 100 to 102 of Surah number 6. The Quran warns us against considering angels and apostles and people as God's offspring. Allah isn't what the Christians believe as God to be a father of some sort. He's the creator of all, the master of all, the Lord of every single thing. They come from Him. We come like the prophets and the angels, they've been sent down from Him, but they're not His offspring. No, by no means are they to be considered as His children. The prophets before Muhammad and before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the other apostles are like us in the way that they are also people, and they are God's special servants, but they aren't God's children. They are special. The apostles, no way am I considering that the prophets aren't special. Of course, they're far beyond us, and they're the closest to Allah. But we shouldn't say that they're children, because the Quran warns us against this. Should those who say that Jesus is God's son mean that God is a father as we are to our children? Then their characterizing him their characterization of him is improper. Allah is elevated above such claims. On the other hand, if they mean something different, they should use something else to express it rather than the term Son of God. There is one very big problem that can arise when you compare. So this is the danger of comparison, or anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism is the act of giving human attributes to a non-human thing. As an example, you can have animals, objects, and such. This is more commonly known as personification. But when it comes to God, it's absolutely horrible to do such as Son of God, being one of the many things said. Some may think of God as a magnified version of man, but really it's just imagination. Allah is truly much, much more than that. After they create these images of Allah, then they go on to worship Him with that image in mind. If you have that wrong image of Allah, and you do salat and you worship with these mental images, that's really bad for you. We've previously mentioned that you can't think of Allah as this because He isn't like this. There's a quote from Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, and he says, you can't worship the name of Allah as that is not He himself. You can't worship the name Allah and the meaning of Allah, as that is shirk. You must worship only the meaning of Allah. That may be a bit confusing, so let me break it down. So you can't worship the name of Allah, as that's just a label. That's not actually who He is. Or you can't worship the attributes of Allah, because we ourselves have many good attributes, hopefully. Like, for example, there's a lot of people that are generous and kind, but Allah is all generous, all kind. You can't worship those attributes, as other people may be able to attain them. You can't worship the name Allah as well as the meaning of the name Allah. So you can't, because that's two things, and we all know that could fall under the category of polytheism. So then it concludes, you must only worship the meaning of Allah. So the meaning of Allah can be understood as the most perfect creation, the absolute and the most highest degree of greatness, magnificence, perfection. The title and the name of God, Allah, comes from two words in Arabic. Al, which means the, and La, which means God. So Allah literally just means the God. So the same thing can be said with La ilaha illallah, which we can then go into detail with. La meaning no, ilaha, so we can see again La comes, which means God. So ilah is also God. So no God, illal, so but we can think that as the word but, and la, which a bit too big, but la, which just means God again. So no God but God, or actually no God but Allah. So that's basically what it is. So you have Allah, which means the God, and using this way, splitting one word in Arabic into two, Allah, we did the same with La ilaha illallah, no God but God, and no God but Allah, because Allah just means the God.